Everybody, what's going on? This is Clint, Locked On Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today, we are breaking down the A.D. Mitchell news, what it means for Bulldogs, what does the portal mean, how does NIL work within all of this. We'll be talking about that as well as potential for Raiola, quarterback in the coming years. Here on Locked On Bulldogs, your team every day.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Everybody, welcome back. This is Clint, part of the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. Daniel's not here with me today. We are talking the news that is coming out of UGA is the biggest news of the day, and that is this. We are finding out that A.D. Mitchell is no longer part of the program, or I should say has entered his name into the transfer portal, which is kind of big news because it means that this young man is going elsewhere. It seems that we will have more information on this in the coming days, but wanted to talk about that, what it means for UGA. Secondly, want to tell you what it means for our receiving core going forward next year. And then lastly, might get to a little quarterback recruiting news out of 24/7 and a couple other spots that talk about a 5-star best quarterback in next year's crop coming to UGA or predicted to Crystal Bar, the gurus and all that. But we'll talk about maybe implications of that. But first, wanted to get back to what this means for UGA, that we have A.D. Mitchell in the portal. Now, first and foremost, A.D. Mitchell is a damn good dog. We have been on this podcast saying that time and time again. This man won us championships. He won us national championships. Trophies came to UGA because of his ability to get downfield, catch the ball in huge spots. Guy, just if there's a playoff game to be had, A.D. Mitchell catches touchdown passes. That's the end of the conversation. That's all that there is to it. And we've seen this time and time and time again from A.D. Mitchell. He entered his name into the transfer portal, and by all accounts, it does not look like it is only NIL money, although that has to do with it. Now, first and foremost, I want to let you guys know, if you don't enjoy NIL, if you are crabby about NIL, if you are mad about guys going and finding bags of money in the NIL somewhere, I want to encourage you, college football may not be for you any longer. Now, we all were promised that the NIL was going to level the playing field. It was going to pay certain players. It was going to get them the ability to make some money as they're going to college and play the sport. That is not what this has done. NIL, what it only has done is made the rich get richer. It has made the ability for top flight programs to pay with boosters and alum and collaboratives and collections to go ahead and get money into the right hands and to woo these guys. We just saw Florida have a debacle with their quarterback in the NIL. He leaves the school once out of his letter of intent because his NIL deal did not come through. It wasn't the 4 years or whatever he was looking for. And there's a lot of speculations of what exactly happened. But I think the end of the result is this. He's not there because he wasn't getting what he thought his 4 years or maybe 2, maybe 3, whatever it was going to be at Florida before he went somewhere else, was going to go ahead and get him that amount. Now, A.D. Mitchell, here's why it's important for you, Georgia fan, and why it's important for us. One, this man has ascended to the top of his sport. He has won 2 national championships. He has been there 2 times with some of the best teams that we've seen, the best teams that we've seen at UGA. He's eclipsed. He's gotten everything that it is. Now, if you're telling me that in my profession, I could go ahead and get everything I want to, I've accomplished so much. I've proven that I can be that guy. I've proven that I'm the top. I'm proven that I can go against the best defenses and win. And now I can go get paid at another school, and now I can be closer to family. By all accounts, he does have family, and nothing's official yet where he's going to go. It seems that he's going to go to a state of Lone Star. He's got family. He's got a kid. He might want to get to the NFL. He may be looking at the crop of wide receivers and maybe for whatever reason doesn't think that he can get drafted at a certain point. He's calculating things. Now, this is much like music industry. The first time somebody comes out with an album, they have to come on the scene. They have to burst on and show themselves. And they burst on and they show themselves. The second thing that happens is once they burst on, they have to keep that going. The second time around, they replicate their first time through. One, you have to burst on the scene. Secondly, you have to make it there. And then your third album comes around. And the third album is basically like, whatever I want to do, I'm going to do it. And I don't really care what you think about it. Think of that as A.D. Mitchell. He bursts on the scene. He shows himself. He follows that up by showing himself that he can replicate that. And then third, he says, I'm going to go do what I want to do. And that is get my money to help my family so that I might be able to go on to the NFL. Who knows what's going to happen there? And y'all, this is complex. It's not so simple as stay with the program that's there. That might be true and that might be helpful. But if you look at the NFL, if you look at these guys playing, they're up to 18 games. The wear on the body in the NFL is insane. Quarterbacks are protected. So if you're a quarterback in the league, yeah, you're going to get something. But if you're anywhere else, you're not to the same level as it once was. You can't be in the league 11 years, 10, 11, 12 years, be at the pinnacle of it because there's always somebody else coming through. They're churning out coaches. They're churning out players. If you're a quarterback, you're protected. You're the shining example. You're the only one the NFL cares about. Everything else they don't care about. And so if you're telling me that A.D. Mitchell could go into the league, get drafted, get that rookie contract, which, by the way, is much lower than all the other vets, and he can go get money now, put in his pocket for his family before he gets drafted and maybe does 3, 4, 5 years into the league. See, this problem is more confounded than simply saying, oh, hey, you stick with the program. If this young man wants to pursue his dreams, the NFL is not protecting him. The NFL is abusing players. NFL fan, I'm sorry. I don't understand how you like the NFL. They're adding more games to the system, to the schedule. They're not protecting their players. They denied CTE for years. Players are not lasting as long in the league. Coaches aren't like Sean McVay almost walked away, and he's one of the youngest coaches to ever be in his. Dolphins are talking about we're rumored to want to fire McDaniels after a couple of years. Guys, he's making his money where he can because he now is able to do so. Imagine if he would have stayed at UGA and would have come back and maybe got drafted in the second, third round. He doesn't have a first round grade today. It doesn't seem. It seems like other receivers are ahead of him. The rookie contract, the NFL is shortening the rookie contract for these guys. They're making it small so that the vets can have it, and the vets are getting the money. The rookies aren't. This is why when you hit on a quarterback on a rookie contract, you are crushing it in life. And now a player looks at that and calculates out, I can be close to family, I can get a bag of money, I can have that before I go in the league. Who knows what's going to happen there because I'm not going to be taken care of by those guys. They don't care about anybody. Evidenced by everything we've seen. Tell me where the lie is, because I think A.D. Mitchell, I would have loved to see him at UGA. I think he could have gotten an NIL deal, but Georgia fan, we have more coming. And we knew this was coming. And I'll talk about that right after this. But first, I want you to know about BetOnline. BetOnline is your sportsbook experts. They have everything that you need right now to get all them game lines and all them actions, over-unders, futures, Masters are coming up, baseball season's coming up. Basketball is still in the full swing of things. College basketball is fantastic as well. Get over there right now to BetOnline, your official sports book experts. They're the official sports book of Locked On Bulldogs and Locked On Podcasts everywhere. They are safe. They are reliable. Daniel, if he was here, he would tell you the same thing. We love them. They're the only place that we trust our hard-earned money. They have odds, news, and scores. BetOnline, your official sports book experts for everything that you need to do. Don't go to Uncle Sal, Cousin Sal. Don't do it at the diner with the newspaper. BetOnline, the official sports book of Locked On Podcasts. All right, I teased a little bit before the break that we were talking about how we are set up well for this. We went to the portal and we got 2 all SEC caliber wide receivers. I think we knew this was coming. I think he hinted at this. I think there's communication. I think when Kirby Smart talks togetherness, he is doing what's in the best interest of his players, and what's in the best interest of his players is to go be great at whatever they want to do. Now, if A.D. Mitchell, he played the game, he went to the playoffs, he caught touchdown passes, he was doing everything that he needed to do for us, and he did it well. And now he's going to go do what he thinks is best for his family. This is all helpful. This is all good. This is all glorious for him. And I think Kirby Smart and the staff knew this. Todd Monk and the staff knew this. They talked to him. They were with him. And that's why we went and got rah-rah. We went out and got 2 all SEC caliber wide receivers, and we're recruiting at a high level at the position. And this just in, we have the best receiving threat in the entire country in Brock Bowers coming back. So, Georgia fan, I want to encourage you, if you're freaking out about this, hey, what's up with wide receivers? What's up with First of all, they're wide receivers. Can we just, for a moment, it's the position that Terrell Owens wanted to play. That's not a shade against any wide receivers. I'm just saying it is indicative of a position that you only got one ball. And this happens. Kendall Milton is coming back. There's only one ball to hand to running backs. Linemen are going to the draft. What I'm trying to say is this is indicative of each person's individual aspect. And again, we're set up fine. We got 2 all SEC guys who, by the way, NIL and transfer helped us. Again, it giveth and it taketh away. The rich get richer in it. We're Georgia. We got 2 guys who from their schools, they wanted to keep. They didn't get to keep them. And now we have them. We have Brock Bowers and we have Ladd McConkey coming back. So don't for a second think that this is bad news for Georgia. It hurts. It stings. I'm not saying that. Don't hear me say that we're better without A.D. Mitchell. What I'm saying is we're fine. And we're going to continue to be fine as long as we have King Kirby at the helm. This NIL, look, this was a bad situation made by all of us. All of us created this. Every time you pay for a ticket to go to a game and it goes to the university and the players are out there playing, and all of a sudden they're saying, what's going on? This was made by us. All of a sudden, when we can't get these guys living to do life as they have chosen to dedicate this. Do you know how many hours are dedicated to this? This isn't anything like when I played. This isn't the same. It's not even close to the same. So we're all responsible. We need to clean things up. I agree. But it's here to stay, and Georgia is using it to our advantage as well. AD is gone, wide receiver positions in fine hands, and here's with NIL, with transfer portal, and with recruiting. And here's what I'm going to say about that before we go on to maybe a quarterback recruiting news, both out of Florida and UGA. More on that in the third segment. But I think the biggest indication for us is to understand that wide receiver position is a conglomerate. Georgia rotates guys in and out constantly. Wide receiver position is not flanker, slot, all of that. It's receiver. We got a lot of 12 personnel, a lot of 13 personnel. We do run guys in and out. But the most important thing is it's a conglomerate. It's a algorithm, if you will, of Todd Monken's system and UGA system. We're never going to be dependent and reliant on one guy. We had the most talented wide receiver ever at the University of Georgia in George Pickens, and he came and he went and he didn't have stats to back it up. He was hurt for a lot of it, I understand, but it wasn't dependent on him. He helped out, certainly, and he can shine, certainly. But we have Brock Bowers, the best weapon in all the sport. Oscar Delp right behind him, 2 SEC wide receivers, and Ladd McConkey back. That wide receiver group is stacked. As a matter of fact, it might be better than this year's. We're fine. We're using the portal and NIL in our advantage as well. Guys are using it for their advantage. It's a system that we create. It's a system that we all watched and morphed, and it might be gross, but it's here to stay, and we're using it to our advantage. Hey, we're going to come back after this, but first, I want to talk about Built Bar. Built Bar is a fantastic protein bar. It is everything that you need to get high fiber, high protein, low sugar, keto approved, diet approved, on-the-go meal replacement, pre-workout, post-workout. And the best part is, now this just in, the best part is it literally tastes like a candy bar. All these protein bars are high in everything I just said, low in the bad stuff, high in the good stuff. Helps you on whatever diet you're doing, on whatever eating arrangement you have going on. Built Bar is the tastiest protein bar because it tastes like a candy bar. I'm not kidding you. I've tried them. I've eaten them. All them flavors. They got some fruit flavors. They got some marshmallow. They got some crisp. They got some chocolate. It's fantastic. Head over right now, BuiltBar.com, or if you're shop at Sam's Club, go over to Sam's Club. They got those 13 packs of the Built Bar over at Sam's Club. Built Bar is the tastiest protein bar on planet Earth. How do I know? I've tried each and every one of them. They are fantastic. They are delicious. They are glorious. And right now, get 15% off with promo code LOCKEDON at BuiltBar.com. All right, last segment talking about quarterbacks and quarterbacks. We might have a chance for the number 1 quarterback next year in the recruiting cycle. Dylan Raiola out of Chandler. And look, here's the deal, Dog fans. If you don't understand the morphing that is taking place at Georgia, that already has taken place and that will continue to take place, it's this. Our offense is here to stay. We are fast, we are lean, we are high scoring, we are efficient, we are explosive. Now, Todd Monken is going to have suitors come call him, but I think that regardless who we have, Kirby now has his rubric in place. Teams understand this is Georgia. There is a culture, there is a foundation. Kirby's going to let the Todd Monken-esque players play and the system go do its thing. We're going to keep recruiting, and now all of a sudden the number one quarterback that's way out there, other side of the country, not even in our backyard, not even in the South, way out there, has USC on his mind, has Oregon on his mind. These players want to come to Georgia because of what King Kirby is doing and because of the system that they have and because of the opportunity they have with NIL, with players, with culture, with fit, with coaching, with development. They saw what happened to Stetson Bennett. And again, that's the weirdest thing. All of our enemies, all of our rivals want to say, oh, Stetson Bennett's not good. Stetson Bennett doesn't have what to say. He's not a 5-star. You're right. Imagine if a guy has talent and wants to come on and work as hard as Stetson did. Imagine what he can do. If Stetson's not that good, like you're saying, I'm saying he's great. You're saying argument is that. Now, hold on a second. Watch out, because we got maybe the number one kid in all of college football next year sitting behind other 4-star and other 5-star. We can't keep all of them. I get that, but we might keep a lot of them. And we have guys for days. This is the heyday. And especially when it comes to recruiting, this is the heydays. We might have our shot at number one class next year and in 2025, because we just got 2 more kids in the trenches that are all world as well. This recruiting system is going where this is inevitable. This is the attrition, war of attrition. And the evolution of our quarterback room continues. Now we're up in the field for a one-time Ohio State commit that does not fear moving away from home, but wants to be part of something special. And that special might be UGA. This is what we have going. As well as watching Florida abjectly crumble and fumble the bag with one of their top quarterback who says, I want out, I'm done, I'm gone. Apparently he wanted $14 million from NIL. He didn't get it from Florida for whatever reason. I have no idea, and no one will ever know, because you can't trust anything out of Florida. So I don't care whose fault it was. It's Florida's fault. That's it. Do you notice something? Do you notice how we don't hear a whiff of anything about fumbled bags from, even if there was something, we're not going to hear anything? Why? Because King Kirby keeps it all in, and because King Kirby keeps that program on lockdown, because he is in control and he is doing the right things, pulling the right levers, motivating the right people. We're not Florida, thank goodness, because they're fumbling left and right, and we are not. We're all over the place in the country. We're all over the place getting these top recruits, and it's great news. This has been Locked On Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We will see you guys tomorrow.